Blush is a singer-songwriter, an advocate, an entrepreneur, a mother, and a very close friend of mine, and also a board member of the 100%ers. She is someone that I am over the moon for right now because she has this massive record coming with Demi Lovato called Dancing with the Devil that I am so excited about. It is paired with Demi's docuseries that's coming out on YouTube on March 23rd. I couldn't be more proud of Blush for all of her hard work. And I mean, can I just tell you guys how incredible of a mother Blush is? Like, I mean, hands down, I tip my hat to you, girl. So with all that said, I'm positive you're going to catch some gems from the incredible Blush.
I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, a couple of places. I was born in Meridian, Mississippi. I grew up in Jersey, and then I moved to Pittsburgh when I was like 8. And then, I left when I was 19. So yeah, I guess I'm from Pittsburgh. When I grew up, I wanted to be a vet. I really love animals. So it was always a dream of mine to like take care of animals and, stuff like that. But ultimately music took over. I've always wanted to sing too. But yeah, it was vet. I grew up listening to a lot of different music. My mom, of course, listened to Kirk Franklin and the Family. The R&B at that time that we were listening to, SWV and certain things like that. Also, Bob Marley. My mom was obsessed with Bob Marley's Greatest Hits album, so I grew up on that. And also just like punk rock and pop and 3-6 Mafia. And, a lot. Country. I loved all types of music. So I grew up listening to everything, really. My first job was at Taco Bell. And I was 14. My mom was like, you legal age to work. You could work now, because I wanted my own money. And I got I had to work like part-time because I was a minor. So yeah, Taco Bell girl. I started pursuing my music career when I was about 18 or 19. And I had like a government job, keying mail for the post office. And I would work from like 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I would go to school from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then I would come home and go to sleep until I had to go to work. And I just wanted more. Like, I was on MySpace talking to people. I was putting out music. I had been singing my whole life in church, but pursuing it, when I was 19, I decided to leave home and my job shut down. So I got my unemployment and bought a little car, whatever, and drove to Atlanta. The person who inspired me to get into the music industry was Linda Perry. I remember when they used to have those Making the Music on MTV, and they would like go in the studio with the artists and like show you. And I remember Christina Aguilera's and Pink's. I think she was on both, but I saw her on Christina Aguilera when she was making Beautiful. And I was like, this is a job? I was like, I didn't even know that was a job, that people were like songwriters. So I started to like figure out what songwriters were and where they were. And like, Atlanta was where it looked like all the songwriters were. So that's who really inspired me though, Linda Perry. When I saw her in the studio working with Pink and Christina Aguilera, I was like, that's probably amazing. My first opportunity in the music business was when I was about 20. I had connected with Pierre Madore through MySpace. I was a fan of the Corner Boys, and I was like, I'm moving to Atlanta. And, he was like, let's connect when you get here. And he just mentored me for a while. And then we ended up getting a placement with Sierra that then ended up going to Jessica Mayboy. So, that was my first, placement And that was my first real music industry experience. Like I had worked with like independent and like had been going back and forth to Atlanta, like working with like, my first like big artist was Angie Stone. But like, other than that was like my first like artist experience. But as far as like placement, working in the industry, yeah. Doing business, yeah. That Jessica Mayboy one was the first. My family thought I was crazy for getting into the music industry. I think my mom had just got to a point where she had given it to God because I was adamant and I wanted what I wanted. So, she just let it go. But, she definitely stayed on me for a while. She definitely worried for a while and questioned everything. And, that fear as a parent, I get it now as a mom, but girl, she did not agree. I think my favorite song that I've worked on is Dancing with the Devil with Demi. Honestly, that's probably the best song I feel like I've written so far. Not ever, but so far, because of its content and its meaning and the timing and the power in it. It's very special, not just for me, but for her. And just for, I think, every time I've played it in a meeting, um, people who have dealt with addiction have come forward and been like, yo, that's going to help a lot of people who are dealing with addiction. And I was like, damn, like in the moment, you just think you're just right. You know what I mean? Doing this for one person, but then it ends up being something that's going to be healing for a lot of people. So I've never had one of those. So this is one of the ones that I'm excited about. And I think is my best so far. Honestly, my process for managing time is just my son is first, so I have to figure out his schedule. Then I work around his schedule. I put my schedule in his schedule, so it's a little bit easier when I have like because I have like I know he can go from 9 to this time, so I have from this time to this time, and then travel time. Like I think as a mom, it's just something that clicked because it has to. Like there's no way around. I don't have just leisure time to just be like, well, maybe and then like I have to plan every hour of my day. So, yeah, that's how I've purposed my time for sure. I don't think having a manager is necessary, but I think if you don't have the bandwidth to do what your manager would do, then yes, you need a manager. If you don't know, well, I feel like at first everybody should manage themselves just because you need to know how to tell somebody how to run your business. And that's a lesson I learned a few times, relying on other people to just assume that they knew how to run my business how I wanted it ran. And I've ended up being self-managed for years now because I'm almost unmanageable at this point because I just, I like it how I like it. I want it the way I want it. And it's when you do find somebody who just gets you, stick with them on whatever level they're on. Because management is not really about access. It's about managing what you have going on, your business, your affairs, your brands. You know what I mean? Like it's not really about, oh, I know such and such, I can get you in this room. That's not really, I mean, that's great if your manager can do that. But if they can't and they know you very well and they know how to run your day-to-day business, then you should stick with them. How I've always placed the song is through my relationships. I've had a few placements through my publisher, but majority of my placements come from the producers I work with, the other writers that I work with, or directly from the artist, working with the artist. So there's plenty of ways to get placements off. If you have an amazing team who knows a lot of executives, that's dope. But I mean, yeah, there's not one way to get a placement. The easiest way is to get you an artist, though. I think when it comes to handling split disputes, I think it's all about um, fairness and understanding. You might feel like you did all this and you want all this, but I feel like equality is the most important split, right? If we're all getting the same thing, we can't be mad. Can't nobody complain if it's all even. So I think it's taking that into consideration. I think split disputes are always about petty numbers, 5%, 2%. Like, what are you fighting with your ego, or are you fighting with your business mind? Because it doesn't, make sense to fight over, I'll give away five. I don't care. I don't care. This isn't the last song I'm going to ever write or get played. So I don't care about giving over. Here. Take it. Is this going to finish the business? Let's go. Like, if it's that petty, if it's that bad, or walk away. Whatever you feel in your spirit you need to do, think of it as in a fair way, and push for fairness and equality. Though, depending on when it came out, and did you even know the people in the room? Are you still in contact with them? Like, can you get a hold of them? Like, you got to weigh your options. Is this something you really want to fight over? Or is this something that's worth even fighting over, because you know how much we get paid? So is it even worth you putting that energy into getting your just due? Like, I get it if it's like a number one record and, a lot of money has been made, it's marketed, it's out, it's on the radio, you did some backgrounds on it, whatever. If it makes sense, if it makes dollars, it makes sense, right? So if you're fighting over $2,000, let it go. Leave it, press, let that thing be. Because ain't nobody gonna get paid. It ain't just you. We all gonna be sitting here looking crazy because we didn't want to do business or be fair. So take that energy to the next record and make sure when you go in that room, you do the splits before your ass leave. I think the best way to change writers getting fees and points is for writers to demand fees and points, because these are conversations you need to have when somebody pick up their phone and have the nerve and the balls to call you without a check to come do some work. You need to handle that business. I mean, I'm gonna have my family, have my conversation. You should be having your own fee conversation with the label. You know, However y'all work out y'all business, but it's important to assert yourself in the room and in the emails about the song. Talk to the people you need to talk to. Let them know, hi, my name is, and this is my paperwork for my shit. And that's how writers, when we make it normal, it'll be normal. I think I've learned how to balance being an artist and a songwriter recently. But before, I think it was there was a struggle there trying to feel confident enough to come out and be like, I'm an artist too. It's a very weird transition because, well, for me, it was weird just because I didn't know, even with all the artists I had worked with, I still didn't know what I was doing. It was like starting off from ground zero, which it is. It's a whole another side of what you do that you haven't been doing as long as you've been songwriting, unless you've simultaneously been doing both of it the whole time. But it has to be an understanding when you create that you're creating for you, or you're creating for an artist or for pitch. I think it's important to separate yourself in your work and your creativity from your songwriter persona or whoever you are when you do that, because you'll confuse yourself, you'll upset yourself, you'll play with your own worthiness, because you gave a record away that was supposed to be for you and now you're struggling. Like, don't do that. Stop playing them those records. If you're going to shop songs that you've written for yourself, you have to, emotionally be there to do that and let that go. If that's not something you want to do and you really believe in you on the song, then keep the song. You don't have to give that song away. But weigh your options. You can write another song. That ain't gonna be the last damn song you write. That's how I feel about it. If you want it, pay for it. Shit. I can write another one. I do this. I think a pub deal should be considered when you are down to your bottom. If you don't ran out of financial options, go get a pub deal. But also have options in place to get out of that pub deal. Know what you're signing. Know the terms. Can you complete these terms? Because you're not getting no more money until you do. So if you need money, I get it. Because this is a tough industry to make money in. So if it's a financial thing, it's like going to a bank to get a loan. Read the terms, understand what you're signing, because that's really what it is, like going to a bank to get a loan, especially if you're at a publisher that doesn't support you or work you or, you have that relationship with them. I think you need to really think it through, have a lower amount that you go get, something that you can get back fast and get out of terms fast. And, it just all depends. But if you are financially set, you're good. You don't necessarily need a pub deal, but if it's a company that's going to support you and put you in other positions that you can't put yourself in, I think a good deal is a good deal. And it doesn't matter if it's here or there or, whatever publisher you choose. If it's a good deal and it's a good situation and it's good money, then then you're good. But it's when you sign a bad deal and because you're in a bad situation and then you have bad management and a bad team, it's going to be bad. So you got to weigh up your scenario. Does this make sense for me? It's just like buying a car or getting a house. Can you afford that? I think having that publisher relationship, from my experience, having a publisher who I didn't have a relationship with, and then having a publisher I do have a relationship with, it's definitely a different experience. And I appreciate the relationship I have with my publisher now because I wished I had it. Well, I thought I had it before, but you see the difference in just learning and growing, and it works for me. But you have to really, it's like dating. If you take your time, make them work before signing you, you know what I mean? Like, make them do what they said they were going to do without the need to have you on contract. Because if they believe in you, they believe in you. You want people who believe in you, who see your potential and know that there's ups and downs and you're like this one time. Sometimes you're like, if they understand you and they're willing to still support you and have your back, then, I think go with any team who would do that for you. There's been plenty of moments that I wanted to quit. I have said I quit. I have like taken a little break. I used to go home every December and like just stay home for like 8 weeks and just like digress and just let go and regroup. It was like 2017 when I was really about to like break, and I was broke and I was living with friends. I didn't have my own place. My son was with my mom. I was very low. I was drinking a lot. I was just like a lost soul out here and trying to find my way. And, then I started to just pray and meditate. And I started driving Uber. And the first day I drove Uber, I just surrendered. And I just was like, I'm going to make this a good day. This is going to be fun. And everybody I picked up was just really dope. There was this one teenage boy. He just put on his headphones and ignored me, but whatever. But on my last ride, I was like, I'm about to go home. I had went from Chatsworth to damn Santa Monica. I was tired. And I got a call and they were like, you need to come home and pack your stuff. And I'm thinking I'm getting kicked out the house. I'm like, terrified. I'm like, what happened? They were like, they want you to fly to Bali tonight to go work with Demi. I was like, what? They were like, yeah, her A&R called me and he remembered a song that you did with Fred Ball for this movie, this show, theme song like 3 years ago. And he was just like, I need her to come. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So I rushed home and I just packed whatever the hell I had. Girl, I'm thinking it's cold here. It's gonna be cold in Bali. That was dumb. I was hot as hell. But it was that moment where I was like, I can't give up because, God is protecting me. He's watching over me. And at the moment when you think it's over is when you get blessed. And he reminds you that you're here for a purpose. And you made the decisions that got you where you are because you weren't listening and you weren't going within to see the outer benefits, So that was a pivotal moment for me because I was a low frequency. Like, I was on the come up, but I was still in that energy. I think as a woman in the music business, you need to handle yourself however you want to handle yourself because you can do you however you want to. But what you do need to do is not let anyone else handle you how they want to. And being a woman has nothing to do with doing business. Absolutely nothing. It has nothing to do with having power. It has not like you are allowed to be powerful in whatever skin you're in. You can be as bold as you want. You can ask for whatever you want and you can demand what you feel like you deserve at any time. Because if that's what you feel like you deserve and you want, you deserve that. So people telling you what you can and cannot do or what they do want to do and what you have to do in order to get, don't allow anybody to tell you what you can and can't do and what you have to do as a woman, because that shit's not real. That's their fairy tale of what a woman is. Who you are as a woman is your reality, not what they tell you. I balance my mental health while working in this industry by really making a point to ingest a lot of spiritual things and do a lot of spiritual work and therapy and compartmentalizing my relationships and really understanding what a friend is, what the homie is, what work, what my publisher is to me, like what these relationships really mean, because that also fucks with your mental health. You thinking somebody's your friend and then they go do some shit the homie would do. And you're like, oh, well, because you didn't really take time. We dive into these relationships. We're in these amazing, beautiful moments. We're sharing, we're crying, we're connecting. And then we think we have a friend. We think we have an ally. We think we have somebody who has our back. And we're not investigating or going deeper into the relationship outside of that moment. So we have to understand how to realize that moment in reality is two different things. That was an amazing moment, but is that the reality of your relationship? Is that happen outside of that? Like, do you know who they really are? Do you know their family? Do you know their story? Do you know their struggles? That's not your friend. If you don't, you need to know their IPI number. You need to know their publisher. You need to know their manager and their lawyer. And if you don't know that, then you just already messed up. You need to get all that information before y'all even become friends. Period. I think my greatest lesson I've learned since being in the music industry is self-worth and knowing your self-worth, right? I won't say I missed. There was a lot of lessons learned about things I didn't get paid for out of like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to be here. Just love, hey, I'm just excited. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm in the room with such and such. This is great. And being taken advantage of because, you know, I didn't realize my worth in that room and why I was in that room and how important I was to the room in that moment, and taking myself for granted, thinking it'll come, and not realizing that in order for it to come, there's a series of events that would have needed to take place, like paperwork, session logs, emails, phone calls, signatures, you know, because I was just excited to be in a room that was doing nothing for me and everything for the people I was in the room for. So, you know, that was the biggest lesson, I think, knowing how to stand up for myself and ask for what I want, and tell people my worth, and make them understand. And if they don't understand, then that room, that's not my room. Those are my people. That's not my play. I think my life perspective has definitely changed spiritually. Um, Less religious. I used to be very religious. I grew up in the church, and I love God. And, you know, God is everything. God is all around us. God is in everything. And I feel like my spirituality has grown and opened up to the world in a different way. And it's opened up my intuition and my thoughts and my possibilities, because, you know, you have to learn how to ground yourself in this industry. You have to learn how to find peace in nothingness. Because sometimes your phone don't ring. Sometimes, and because we don't have a set schedule, we're not da 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 da. And there's a lot of people doing busy work. A lot of people are busy, but there's not much getting done. They're just doing a lot of moving and snapping and Instagramming and putting, you know, it's a lot of I'm over here, I'm over there, but, you know, it's not a lot of progress. So um, I've learned how to be okay in nothingness and like having nothing to do. That's a beautiful thing, to just sit in stillness now, because I'm okay. My mind, meditation and therapy, and surrounding yourself with people who push you to be better and be in a better mental space is important. Um, Learning that lesson in who I surround myself with. All that spiritually is a spiritual thing. That's energy. That's understanding self in order to recognize the things in other people that you don't connect with, that you don't resonate with, that doesn't serve your highest self. Um, and being in your highest self in this industry keeps you from doing things that you don't want to think about later, because that happens a lot. A lot of that's going on. There's a lot of rabbit holes to fall in. And if you're not spiritually grounded, you will keep falling in them till you hit rock bottom. And who knows when that'll be? That could be right at the top. My goals have changed a lot. They constantly change. Not like my long-term goals. When I go look back at my old like list of goals that I've written, a lot of them are the same as far as the big ones. But I think I got out of that the need for the validating part of the industry, the awards and the accolades and the you know, it's great. It's not, I don't have anything against it. It's just not a goal. It's not a mission to be number one or to go platinum, or because I have platinum records, and I mean, yay. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as rewarding as I thought it was. Um, and it's dope when you do get there, like, oh, that's cool, but it's not changing my life in an emotional way. Like, I'm not connected to those things anymore. My goal now is to educate and build new things that haven't been built in this industry and accomplish things that have not been accomplished in this industry. I think those are the new goals. I think the best life advice is for me is you're doing your best. You're literally doing your best. You're working with all the tools that you have right now in this moment. And the more you learn, the less you suffer, you know? So, and you can't learn everything in 1 year. You know, it takes a lifetime to really get all the information that you need. And you're always going to be learning and growing. So I think the best advice is you're doing your best. I always tell my 20-year-old self to relax. Girl, listen, just ride the roller coaster, girl. Put your arms up. It's going to get better. It's going to get bad. It's going to get good. It's going to be over here. It's going to be up, down. But you in your 20s, you good. The books that I think are really dope are The Body Keeps Score. Uh, that one's really dope. That's about how PTSD and trauma affects us physically and how we respond and don't really understand unless we dig really deep for uh, that trauma. And there's another one. Hold on. It's called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Woo! That one will get you and your parents together because it talks about just like all these childhood traumas that we think are just like anxiety or just like I'm shy or like, oh, I don't like doing that because, or that's not who I am. And like, honestly, who you are is always changing, but we hold on to these childhood ideas that traumatized us when we were younger and we apply them in our adult lives and don't even realize it. Realize why we make some of the decisions and have some of the fears or worries that we have is because we were ignored when we were children at times, or like our parents scared us and said, you better not do this. So, you know, we've built this whole identity around a lot of things that aren't real.